So you've managed to get a Kerbal stuck on the surface of the Mun. Don't panic. Here's how to perform a rescue mission to get them home safely. Let's build our rescue ship. We're going to start out with a probe core, so we don't accidentally strand another Kerbal. I chose this one, but any will work fine here. We then want to add a command pod for our Kerbal to ride back in, as well as a parachute and optionally a heat shield. Now let's build out a simple lander. For this, I had a fairly small fuel tank with a Terrier engine, making sure to add solar panels, batteries, and an antenna. We can now build the upper stage. This will get us all the way to the Mun, and even help with the landing. Here, I opt to make our rocket slightly wider and add a cheetah engine. Now for the launcher. Here I make the rocket even wider and add a lot of fuel with a mainsail engine. Optionally, you could add some boosters too, but this should be more than enough for our purposes. After adding some fins at the bottom and auto-strutting everything, we're ready to launch. Now, we're going to launch into a low Kerbin orbit, just like any other mission. We then want to do a fairly standard Mun transfer. Given that you've already managed to get a Kerbal stuck there, I'm going to assume you already know how to do this. Now, before we time warp all the way out there, let's take a look at our target in the map. We can see that it's at a fairly high latitude, well above the equator, so we need to account for this before we get there. To do this, we want to do a normal or anti-normal burn when we're about halfway to the Mun. This is so that our trajectory passes at least as far north or south as the target. Optionally, you might even want to pass directly over the poles. Once we've done this, we can then warp to the Mun periapsis and capture ourselves into a low orbit. Now we need to wait and time warp until our target passes directly underneath our orbit. The Mun rotates very slowly, so this could take some time. When it is just below our orbit, we can then plan our descent. We want to burn retrograde until our trajectory intersects the ground just ahead of our target. This gives us some breathing room to decelerate on our way down. Now that we're getting close, we can use the nav ball to help us get even closer. To do this, we want the retrograde marker and the anti-target marker to essentially align. If your anti-target marker is to the side of your retrograde marker, you want to burn slightly on the opposite side to get them to align. As you descend, the retrograde marker will also move slowly towards the vertical upwards point as we accelerate downwards. If it gets closer to it than the anti-target marker does, you want to burn vertically upwards. If you do this right, you'll end up moving directly towards the target. We then want to cancel out all of our horizontal speed when we're just above the target. This means that the retrograde marker, the anti-target marker, and the vertical upwards point all effectively intersect. We're now travelling straight down, vertically, just above our target. Here, I use the remainder of our upper stage fuel and come down softly with the lander. As you can see, we're extremely close to the crash site. We can now get our Kerbal out on EVA to enter the command pod on the rescue vessel. Then, we want to return to Mun orbit. When we get to Mun orbit, we want to do an ejection burn on the side of the orbit that faces Kerbin, and when we do this, we will be able to safely return.